Hello, it's Virtual from Zenith Corporation, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to make your ships functional. So if you've been playing the game for any more than 5 minutes, you probably know that the blueprints on the default speeders are completely broken and completely terrible. You also, if you manage to get your blueprint placed, the speeder sucks, and you're going to spend half your day figuring out how to fly it. Well, I'm going to show you guys how to build a functional ship out of the parts you get with your speeder, excluding the ones that are broken in the blueprint. So you don't need to worry about using a blueprint at all. If you're watching this video before getting the game, I wouldn't even place down your speeder blueprint. Just go ahead and build what I'm showing you here. What I'm going to show you is a rendition of the default hovercraft that can fly, and hopefully it will be a huge help to you. So when you start the game, you're going to open your tutorial and you're going to have some speeder parts in your inventory. I have some of these aren't included in the speeder, but I'll only be using parts that you will have when you start your speeder. And the first thing you're going to want to do to start this build is to place down your dynamic core. Now if I take the dynamic core and I place it into my quick access bar, when I'm holding my number 5 tool, I can deploy the core. Now I'm only allowed to deploy the core if I'm inside of the build zone. If I'm out of the build zone, it doesn't work. I go into more detail on things like this in my introduction tutorial, but if you use page up and page down and some arrow keys, you can also maneuver around your core to the location you would want. Well, let's go ahead and drop this down. I can select the name for it, and then select that the owner's myself if you're already in an org. You can also select your org if you want. So I have deployed the core. Now you can go ahead and take the voxels that you got from your speeder and drag them into your quick access bar with the number 2 tool open. So I'm clicking number 2 in build mode, and I'm dragging my voxels into my quick access bar. And that's what you can do there. Now you're going to start with just these voxels. I think that the racer actually has a few extras, so you can be a bit more creative than me. Also, there's not really a reason to make your ship pretty, but, you know, since I like to build cool stuff, I'll do it anyway. Keep in mind that this arrow is forward, and also that you can move around your core with your number 9 tool. We won't quite do that quite yet. So I'm just going to start something really random. If you want more information on how build mode works, go check out part 1 of the building tutorial, which is on my channel, and maybe that can be of use and I can help you out. But you can, if you would like, you can try to copy this. I wouldn't recommend it just because it uses a little bit of some building techniques that you might not know already. But I'm just kind of freehand drawing this, just maybe make something interesting. Something that looks kind of speeder shaped. And maybe, okay, let's build it back a bit and include the core. Server's been a little bit slow lately. So I put the core off center like this on purpose because I wanted to show you something. If you take your number 9 tool, you can actually grab your core and move it around. Make sure you keep the orientation the same, but point being, I can take my core and I can hit page down and I can actually move it around however I'd like. So I can place the core into the ship like this, and I can also move it back and forth with my arrow keys, etc. That's very useful if you're placing an element where you would like. For now, I'm just going to move the core out of the way so I can work on my gorgeous voxel design. That's a bit optimistic, isn't it? That's kind of ship-shaped. Alright, so we'll go ahead and take our core actually and just place the core in front of the ship. Just like so, and like maybe, I want my flight seat. So when you want to select your element, you can go into your nano pack here, find your element that you'd like, and take and drag the element into your quick access bar just like you did when you placed the core. You can also use your scroll wheel to select between different elements, and you can hold R to scroll and rotate an element. Now let's say I want to place this element, like right here, kind of place our seat into the ship a little bit. Something like that'll work. Alright, maybe I want to hollow this out, make it for the hover engine. So, okay, well I have a hover engine to place, and your ship will come with this. You only need to R scroll again to rotate, and then I also can just place right there, and now we have a hover engine. I'll just go ahead and select a section of this, and we'll just build it out a little bit farther. Keep in mind you are limited on how much voxel you have, and that number is shown on the right side of your screen. In my case, it's 0.53 now, so almost out of voxel. There's also a few other types of voxel that it comes with that you can use. So I think I'm going to go ahead and place my engines. So we'll just place engine like right here. And like I said, this is a very rough design. You can do whatever you'd like if you want. And then once again, check out the building tutorial and also the introduction tutorial if some of the things I'm doing here don't really make sense. But enough with that. Got our engines placed. On the default speeder, one of the 3 engines is facing forward, and if you think about how a ship works, that doesn't really make sense. Don't tell that to the developer. So we move that engine to the back so that it can provide more thrust and the ship will become more effective. This is the fuel tank. It takes atmospheric fuel, and you'll need to link it to your engines. If you take your number 6 tool and click on the fuel tank, move the link to your engine, you can link the fuel tank to all of the engines. This is important to do if you want the ship to fly. It'll probably still work if you don't link. I think it automatically links, but either way, we're trying to be intelligent human beings. So we'll place that there. Another pro tip is you can select an element, click U, and it'll turn yellow, and when your element on the other side is in the right place, it turns yellow as well, and that's a form of symmetry. I have 3 stabilizers. You only get 2, so I'm not going to place the 3rd one. Next, let's go ahead and throw an air brake on the ship, and maybe we put one there or something, I don't know. It doesn't really matter where the air brakes are, but you can put them wherever you'd like. Another thing that you should know is that your number 7 tool is the maneuver tool. You can click the construct, you can use number 7, rotate the construct around, and move it up. So say I want to work underneath the ship, and move the construct up, and then click B on the ship to enter build mode once again. I think the default speeder comes with quite a few atmospheric air brakes. I suggest you use more than 3, but 3 is the amount I have on me, so that's what I'm using. Now the adjusters help adjust the ship's angle. You want the adjusters to be far away from the center of the ship as possible. If they're not far from the center of the ship, they won't work quite as well. So we're just going to place them on the ends of the stabilizers, like so. Keep in mind that each element has its arrows like this. You don't want to block the arrows or the element will stop working. That's pretty important to know when designing any ship. I'll put a adjuster, let's put it, say there. Maybe we'll add one there. And then we need some yaw adjusters. And we'll add those just like that. Alright, now that our adjusters are placed, our ship is pretty much done. There's not much else to do. And maybe it doesn't look quite as nice as a default speeder, but it's certainly more effective. Now before you fly, there are a few things that you need to do, including fuel with the fuel tank. So go out of build mode, click your number 6 tool, your fuel tool, go into your nano pack, and grab the fuel that came with the tutorial, and drag it into your quick access bar. Just hold and click on the fuel tank, and fill it up. Now you can't pick up the fuel tank when it has fuel in it, so to remove the fuel tank, you hold Alt and click, and it removes the fuel. The same can be said about elements. If you'd like to remove an element, you hold Alt and click, the element goes away, and backspace puts the element back to redo the action. Now the ship still isn't quite done. It looks good, however, this is a hover seat. We don't want the ship to be in hover mode because we want to fly, so go ahead and right-click your hover seat, go to Run Default Auto Configure, and click Pilot Flying Construct. And this will allow your ship to fly and get off the ground more efficiently, and you'll be able to get around Alioth much more effectively. Now in a video after this one, I'm going to be showing you how you can actually get to space and leave Alioth and go to a different planet if you'd like. So I think this design will work. I haven't actually tested it. This is a one-take recording. But that being said, it looks like we're flying. I'm using WASD to control my angle like this. Also, C and space control the vertical boosters. C is going to lower you to the ground, and space is going to launch you up. The throttle controls the thrust on your engine, and control is your brake. So if I throttle up, the engines throttle up and I start moving forward, and if I hit control, I slow down with my air brakes. Now X is a very useful button. It shows you your trajectory. So the first X, when you click X once, you get an instantaneous trajectory. If you click X twice, you see the forces acting on the ship, and if you click X 3 times, you get a big trajectory. So now if I throttle up, slightly take off like this, don't stall the wings, you can see that I have a trajectory. Now on the topic of the trajectory, since this ship does not have a vertical stabilizer, if I turn like this, the trajectory doesn't move. The solution to changing your trajectory is to hit Q and E a little bit, roll the ship, and then turn. You can see how much more effective the turning is when I'm at a slight angle. Now as you can already see, we're already cooking when it comes to the top speed, and that's because the devs didn't design this ship. If you want to get around Aelioth, just hit your throttle and cruise. You'll get pretty good at flight time on the ship, and if you need more fuel, it only takes 100, just throw it into the fuel tank. Furthermore, you use less fuel at a higher altitude, and a ship like this is easily capable of flying quite high. Maybe if you want to leave Aelioth today, you just strap a space engine to the back and a space, maybe a space fuel tank and a bigger engine, and you'll be well on your way to success. And maybe now I'll show you how to upgrade this ship just a little bit to make it more enjoyable to fly and more useful. I still use a default speeder like this every single day. As a matter of fact, I took apart my default speeder to build this ship for you guys so you can see. It's very useful when you're just getting around base, moving inventory of ore, things like that. And I'll go ahead and show you a very simple upgrade that you can work toward when you're in early game to make the ship better. So when you land, you're going to want to come in at a relatively shallow angle. When you get close to the ground, you're going to hold space to turn on the engine, and then you're going to hit control to slow down. Just click C and you'll slowly lower to the ground, and then hold F to get out of your flight chair. So maybe I think the seat takes too long and I want to remove the seat. I'll take the seat off, and then I have an element called a remote control. I can take the remote control, drag it into my quick access, like so, and I can just place the remote control on top of the ship in any location I'd like. Furthermore, I can also slap a bigger engine to the back to make the ship fly like it's super fast. Let's go ahead and do that. I have a small engine. These are very cheap to make, and they can be made in your K menu, which is crafting. All you have to do is type in engine and scroll through, and you can find the atmospheric engine in the list. So let me go ahead and place this once again. 7 to maneuver the ship away from you. Alright, so now we have a gigantic engine on the back of our ship, and a little remote control. So now instead of getting in a seat, I just click the remote control, and oh look, I'm on a little surfboard. And this is the kind of ship that I use on a daily basis to get myself around just without walking. Maybe I need just a little bit of ore, I can use the ship, and things like that. Something else that's kind of cool, most people don't use it, however maybe you'd like to. You can actually pull out your 3's tool, your ore scanner, and as you fly along with the hovercraft, you can scan for ore, like so. Alright, well I hope this video was helpful, and it'll get you well on your way to success in Dual Universe. Please stay tuned, and I'll have a little video, probably 5 minutes or so, on just how to get yourself to space for the first time, and the basic orbital mechanics associated with that. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Virtual, and I'll see you guys later.